we were all high on UConn, but I kept saying in the back of my mind, I'm like, UCLA is going to come in here and is going to cause a storm.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast, the global authority on coaching leadership, where coaching wisdom meets real talk. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Throwdown Thursday edition, in segment 1, we congratulate UCLA's women's team for winning their first NCAA championship. They won an AIAW championship in the 70s. And we'll also talk about what happened with Gino and Dawn. Got to do that. In segment 2, we're going to talk about Audi Crooks hitting the transfer portal. The portal is open, but it's also open for coaches too. UVA had a little situation. We're going to sneak that in there. And in segment 3, the business of sports in college. Is the SEC championship game going to be obsolete with the potential playoff shifts? We'll talk about that. And who runs the Big 12? Is it Cody Campbell, or we'll talk about that too. With us today, academic and athletic consultant for the CKSA Project, George Ockert, and our basketball correspondent, Danny Thompson. Danny, I'm going to open with you. You watch more women's basketball for our show than anyone this year. Any thoughts on UCLA just dominating South Carolina for the championship this year?
They were playing the best basketball of the tournament. Now, I know we were all high on UConn, but I kept saying in the back of my mind, I'm like, UCLA is going to come in here and is going to cause a storm because, one, who was going to stop that beast in the middle with Lauren Beck? She was dominant the entire tournament run. And he's throwing the fact that you had Jaime Hoptaz's little sister. She was coming in just throwing up bombs. Gabriella was playing lights out this afternoon, and she was the catalyst to this win. Now, one thing that UCLA has done that most programs do in the women's side is they won with experience, because they were very upperclassmen laden team that was dominating during the tournament run and leading up to this point. Remember, UCLA only lost one game this season. So it was only a matter of the time before all of that came together for them during the tournament. And it was just a perfect storm to how they played this afternoon when they just straight up dominated South Carolina. I thought that's 2 straight years South Carolina has been in the championship game and they've lost by 20 points. So that says a lot that they don't have that hold on women's basketball like we thought they were going to have over the years. So we're going to see how this translates for UCLA going down the line, because now they have to almost like revamp, because I don't know if Lauren Betts is coming out. I don't know if Kiki Rice is coming out. I don't know if Gabriella Hoptaz is coming out, but they still have a tremendous group still there. And I have to look into the recruiting class to see who's coming in. So UCLA is built for a run that can keep building on this as time goes on. But I was totally impressed by how they played this afternoon and how they played the entire tournament.
George, congratulations to the Bruins. What are your thoughts?
Only really 2 takeaways from this. One, I could see it coming because the SEC was in women's basketball is a very physical league, very defensive oriented league. Texas plays a lot like South Carolina did. The game before the Final Four game, UConn did not handle that physical in your face pressure very well, but UCLA did. And I'll give UCLA's coach kudos because she had prepped her girls for it. They went in and they saw basically the same thing again against when they got South Carolina that they saw against Texas, of that up in your face physical on the boards style. So that was number one. Number two, South Carolina ran into what I call a buzzsaw. So sometimes in sports, I don't care how prepared you are, how prepared you have your team, sometimes when you step on that field or that court, the other team just can't miss and you can't make. And when that happens, it's one of those nights where you just pack it in and take your butt kicking and going about your business. So that was what happened today because we saw South Carolina was missing shots and they couldn't passes getting deflected and things weren't going the way they wanted them to go. But everything was going right for UCLA. Even though they were trying to put pressure on them and trying to play D and trying to even box them in. I saw some tip ins that were just going, that just went in that you didn't see going in. So it happens. And they got caught in that buzzsaw. And it happened. It just so happens that USC's been caught in that buzzsaw 2 years in a row. Because it's not like it only happens once. All three of us sitting here can talk about those nights where we got caught in the buzzsaw. Yeah. And it wasn't nothing we could do. Another time,
not one to
stop it. Changing the pitches, going to stop it. Getting a new quarterback, and nothing's going to stop it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. So there was a little situation that happened in the Final Four between UConn, South Carolina. During the game, as George mentioned, very physical. Referees let a lot of stuff go. And we talked about it in the group chat. Our favorite official didn't have an issue with any of it. Gino Auriemma dropped some expletive deleteds. There was some miscommunication about a player in their jersey. There was a miscommunication about a pregame handshake or not handshake. So for this one, I'm going to go first because I understand about protocol, and I also understand that sometimes you just kind of know it's done. So in the year 2000, Paint Branch High School upset Annapolis, who was ranked number 1 in the semifinals. And the handshake line came in, and our players have lost their minds because it was an upset. Talk about 6 D1 guys. And the head coach waited for our head coach for it seemed like an eternity. And as the assistant coach, I'm tapping him to go to the handshake line. And God rest his soul, my head coach at the time was a bit of a free spirit. And at the moment when he turned to shake his hand, he got a promo cut on him by a veteran coach about, hey, shake my hand. So I've seen that. And he said, my buddy said, hey, we just beat you. I'm sorry. And they tried to shake his hand. It didn't work out. But, so I kind of understand some of it to an extent. And then there's something George said about UCLA just being on and just getting your head smashed in. And there were times as a coach, I had my head smashed in, and then I can do about it. We lost to a team where a guy hit 7 threes one night. His name was Cornelius McMurray. It's still in my head, and another shot just went in. There was one time we played a team called Southern from Baltimore, and the fans sitting behind us said, and I quote, hey, coach, put your starting 5 in. Somebody needle them said, they're already in. Ha, ha, ha. It's still funny because they would just beat us, just bad. So sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But for the analysis, George, when you saw what was going on, I knew the assistants had to jump in, and kudos to the UConn assistant coach who just jumped in and did what assistants do and brought it down, because Dawn's from Philly, and she wasn't going to have nobody talking to her any old way. George, the floor is yours, sir.
Gino being a baby. I mean, I understand. Okay, you listened to your hype. You believed you were all this. The media has hyped you up, and you really thought you were going to win this game. But in essence, your girls just weren't ready. They weren't ready. They got out physical, and there was nothing you could say or nothing you could do to change the outcome. So you were frustrated. But you're a veteran coach, Gino. You done beat up people worse than this. I don't know how many times. How many times in Gino's career has it been that Gino's night, that Gino was the buzzsaw? So go, just eat it and go. Take your butt kicking and go home. You know better than to act like that. you went through the whole thing about the girl's jersey getting ripped. She ripped her own jersey, Gino. Get better intel. Stop getting upset over something that you have done 5 million times over to other teams. It's just like when Notre Dame used to cry about getting the score run up on them when they had done it for so many years. Let it go, Gino. Stop being a baby. That's what I got. That's
Hey,
all.
Danny, what did you see? What was your thoughts on the Geno Dawn situation?
I was kind of confused. I was like, what the hell caused him to blow up like he did? Because it wasn't like it was some, you know, delay and whatnot. That if I'm not mistaken, the game is still going on, and when the game is over, then I'll come shake your hand because it sounded like he was more upset over delaying the handshake.
There was a pregame handshake that was supposed to take place, and according to Geno, he waited 3 minutes for Dawn to come out.
Wow.
That's kind of what I got.
Yeah, you're just crying over spilled milk at that point. You're like I said before, you're like the kid in the candy store who's upset because he had to wait too long because he couldn't get what he wanted, or he didn't get it when he thought he was going to get it. Let it go. It's a pregame handshake. It's okay. It's all right.
I would do the pregame handshake, but before games, inside fact on Coach Adams, I used to read the Wrestler Observer before games, believe it or not, and I had it in my rolled up Paul Ellering like a newspaper, and they thought I was studying the game plan, and they're like, "No, he read the wrestling magazine. I don't really the game plan. Warm ups are for the players. How you doing? Leave me alone, and let's go play." But that was me. I'm weird like that. George. You didn't know I read the Observer before every game.
That does not shock me in whatsoever. Not one bit. Not
I
one
always
bit.
had a wrestling magazine with me, and the Observer looked like my game plan. But yeah, my players are like, yeah, he's just reading a wrestling mag. It's like, your coach is so intense. Not really. Yeah. So with that, in segment 2, we're going to talk about the transfer portal. Audi Crooks is in there. Let's give her some advice. We'll be right back on the Hot Coaches Podcast.
Today's student athletes face pro-level challenges without pro-level support. The CKA SAVE project is here to change that. For 16 plus years, Dr. Keith Adams and his team have provided comprehensive academic and athletic support from middle school through post-graduation transitions. NIL guidance, transfer portal navigation, academic coaching, career planning, they've got it covered. The CKA SAVE project. When your future is on the line, experience matters. Learn more at www.ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Hot Coaches Podcast in segment 2. We've got an All-American exit. So Audi Crooks, formerly now of Iowa State, officially entered the transfer portal. She has 1 year of college eligibility remaining. She is coming off a dominant junior season, finishing second in the nation in scoring at 25.8. She also averaged 7.7 rebounds while shooting an elite 64.9% from the floor. Crooks is the highest profile name in the portal, but she's not alone. She is one of 10, count them 10 Iowa State Cyclones who have entered the portal. So despite being eligible for the 2026 draft, Crooks explicitly confirmed that she intends to play a fourth collegiate season rather than turning pro, which I actually think is a wonderful idea. Her social media post was nostalgic but firm, stating she wants to explore what it means to take root again in a new ground, signaling a desire for a fresh environment after Iowa State disappointing first-round exit to Syracuse, where she scored 37 points in the loss. Danny, I'm going to come to you first because, again, you watched it and you're a post player. And you saw how dominant she can be on one end. You also saw the questions about the lateral movement on the other end. What do you think about her move to get into the portal?
I don't think she should have left because, I mean, granted, she's going to be the hottest commodity on the transfer portal on the women's side. Let's just be real. teams are going to flock to go and get her because of her offensive, presence as a post player inside. My reservations are I would not put too much stock in that because she is a liability on the defensive side of the ball. And as a post player who relied heavily as a rim protector and a post defender, I watched her play all season. Her lateral movement is not there. If she's going to go to any conference that uses pick and roll in their offensive scheme majority of the time, they're going to pick and roll her to death. And then at the same time, she does not have any resemblance of help defense. There were times where players literally drove down the lane and she's right there. It was like open door policy. As a post player and as a guy who coached post players in high school, I would be sitting in this seat right now, wanting to throw my remote at the screen because I wanted to scream and holler because I'm like, yo, turn around, move your feet, be in help position so that way, because you're already the biggest thing on the floor. So I'm going to go away from her play because that's a non-given. She's going to be a hot commodity in this transfer portal season because if I'm not mistaken, there are going to be a lot of teams that are going to be looking for a post presence like her inside. So depending on where she goes, she's going to be an added a much needed addition inside, where she's going to struggle unless she works on it in the offseason because she's going to need a lot of it. Is she better get that lateral movement down pat. She better be able to be much more of a presence inside on defense, because if not, she's going to have the same success that she had at Iowa State this past season. High expectations, but not the results she's looking for.
All right, George. What do you think about the move? Transfer portal for Audi Crooks. Has she reached her limit at Iowa State? What do you think?
I mean, are they keeping the same coach there at Iowa State?
I had no idea. I just know that there's 10 people in the portal.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering why everybody decided to leave at that point in time. I think Danny was nice with his assessment of her defense, because I would call it no defense. There it was none.
Challenged.
No, zero. Because I think that in even on offense, with a athletic big, she struggles because she's all physicality. She's good with the bump and move. She has some decent touch around the basket. But if you're, I saw athletic bigs have some success against her defensively. I think she's a very limited product, man. You can get it to her. She's a black hole. She passes out of it. She can score, but what else is she bringing to your team? And that's where the problem comes. So I'm with Danny. I thought she should have stayed because she was the focus, and they need to do something. You're not going to get into a situation like, I can't see her transferring to a TCU or USC or LSU or something and fitting in, because they're not going to change the way they play to protect her. So I don't know because you got to change the way you play to protect her.
And George, that's why I think she has to leave. She's very comfortable. And something Hank told me, my mentor, Hank Alada, right after we won the state championship, he looked at me, said, son, you got to go because you're too young to be this comfortable. And if she wants to play in the WNBA, she's got to get out of Big 12, because you see that there's levels to this thing. And if she can get to maybe Iowa, I know they're rivals, but that might be something there.
She can do all that, but she's got to change the way she plays.
And somebody may challenge her, because again, when you're the best thing going and you're the smartest person in the room, you need another room. So I applaud her for saying, hey, there's not much else I can do here. And I hope the fans at Iowa State, I hope her former teammates, I hope everybody get that. Sometimes you got to leave to grow. And real life, George knows I have taken some risk in my career that even George said, yo, you going to do what? I got you. And I think she's going to need a little bit of, all right, I got you. Because real life is hard. Go ahead, Danny.
Now I was doing some deep dive looking into her jumping to the portal. Right now, there are 3 schools as of a report by Sports Illustrated that could be looking into some 3 potential landing spots. Oklahoma, so that means the SEC. Iowa, which you mentioned already, Coach, which is the Big Ten. And Notre Dame, which is the ACC.
Need anybody in Notre Dame.
Right. So those right as of right now, things could change. Those are her 3 potential landing spots that are being reported. So I'm leaning. At first I was like, yeah, I think you should have stayed. But I'm also of the mindset for her that wants to go play in the WNBA. She needs to get a look at what it's like playing against consistent athletic
everyday talent. Every day.
And if she's going to the Big Ten, possibility, you might be playing against Lauren Betts because there's no guarantee that Lauren Betts is coming out. She's only a junior.
Coming out.
Oh, she's coming out. Well,
I'm just speculating.
We don't know, but even still, you still got to deal with her sister, who is just as athletic and is just as talented as she is. If you're going into the SEC, that's Oklahoma. You got to deal with Joyce Edwards down in South Carolina. You got to deal with the athletic big that they have down in LSU. That's Texas. So you have a run to deal with. And Notre Dame, I don't think she needs to go to Notre Dame because Notre Dame she's going to be in the same situation she was in Iowa State.
She might get a little better coaching.
Coaching-wise, yes. And then, because to me, as much as we're talking about Audi Crooks, I think there's a bigger issue that we need to talk about. Why are 10 players transferring from Iowa State's program? That should be the bigger story.
The same reason why UVA's got a new women's coach coming.
That's my ass.
But the thing about it is, there's no reports about what's going on with any program instability at Iowa State. No one has come out and said any report about the coach doing something outlandish. The dude has been there for he's been on 32 seasons, and he's the all-time winningest coach in the program history and in the Big 12 history. So that, to me, is the bigger story. Don't get me wrong, Audi Crooks is the diamond that everyone is trying to get. But I don't know, maybe we want to look into it a little bit further as the week goes on. But why are 10 players, including Audi Crooks, leaving Iowa State's program? That, to me, is a bigger story than singling out Audi Crooks entering the portal.
All right, so fans, in segment 3, we'll get back to the administrative side. Our conference championship games obsolete. We're going to have that conversation. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches Podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.cksaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Our Coaches Podcast in segment 3. We are at a crossroads. Is the SEC championship game obsolete? So Alabama's AD, Greg Byrne, a heavyweight in college athletics, explicitly stated that the SEC championship has sailed and run its course. So he highlighted the fact that in the 2025 season, Alabama lost to Georgia in the SEC title game, and despite the loss, neither team moved in the CFP rankings. That reinforced the idea that the game itself had been a high-risk, low-reward exhibition for top-tier teams. So to replace this massive revenue generator of the SEC championship, he proposed expanding the college football playoff to 16 teams. He's not alone. Texas' AD, he likes it. Lane Kiffin likes it. So here's the 5+11 model for those who don't remember from college football season. Automatic bids for Power 4 champions plus 1 Group of 6 champion, 11 at-large bids. Conference champions are decided by regular season standings. And while the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 favor 16 teams, the Big 10 is in my neighborhood, and they want 24 because I want 24 because the FCS model runs 24 every year with no issues. George, what say you, sir?
Nothing will change until we have a massive overhaul, until the super conference is made or something. It's too much money. It's too much money. It's big business, man. As long as that TV deal is still there and people are going to watch, and for all the time, Alabama right now is screaming about it because they haven't won it in the last couple of years, and it hasn't helped them get anywhere. So Alabama's upset about it. But it's still a moneymaker. SEC still looks at it as wearing the shield on their chest, and it means something to every SEC team. I bet you Georgia didn't say anything about it. So you don't want when you're behind, when your program has taken a step back, you're always going to have a problem with how things are going, and you're going to want to make changes on ways to get you into the college football playoff. So I'm not concerned about it. It's a bunch of nothing. Nothing will be done until the major shift happens with college football.
Danny, 5+11, 24 teams, conference championships. What do you think? Are they obsolete or do we still need them? What do you think?
I think conference championships should still be played. Now, I want to bring up something that you brought up. The 3 people that mentioned about their dislike of the SEC championship game. Alabama, who ain't been winning it consistent like that. Texas, who only won 1, and they just got into the conference. So I don't know why they're hollering. And some guy that decided to leave his program right before the college football playoff to go to another program in Lane Kiffin, who ain't had no sort of conference championship success since he was an assistant coach at Alabama. So what does that tell you about the value of conference championships? It still means something because you have 2 programs and 1 guy who wants to have that success, and they're upset they're not getting it. Now, conference championships should still have its value because it always comes down to those games to find out where your positioning is. I know for me, for years, the conference championship was the weekend I could not wait for as a fan because I was always trying to find out what team was going to move up, what teams would go down, who's going to get bumped out of this is dating myself. Let's say go back to the BCS days during the computer rankings to when they changed it to the college football playoff. It's something that I have always paid attention to and have always looked forward to. So there is still value in conference championship games. What I don't want to see is this whole change into the system where you have 5 automatic bids, including one of the group of 5 champions and then 11 at-large bids. Again, just like I said this when it came to the college basketball, when they expanded to 76 teams, this is just another way to get some team that is mad that they weren't in the initial rankings to get into the college football playoff. I.e., a couple years ago, when Florida State dropped out, they got bumped out. They pushed it up. Oh, we're going to do the 12-team playoff. Now we're seeing that people were mad that who was it this season?
Alabama.
Got upset. Alabama.
It's
Alabama upset with their position. This Alabama's upset they didn't get in. The whole Notre Dame thing and their preferential treatment in getting into the college football playoff because it's Notre Dame. I mean, all this is just as the same thing with the 76 team expansion in the college basketball tournament that they're trying to get to. This is just a cash grab. This is just them trying to get somebody that's upset that they didn't get in the year before and getting them in this year. That's all this is. So I get it's a business. You're trying to get your best teams in. Then get the best teams in and stop listening to a team that's crying and moaning because they didn't get in the year before. So that's all this expansion is. And I'm with George at this point. Just go ahead and just form a super conference. Because at this point, if y'all gonna keep crying and moaning because you didn't get in and woe is me, oh my God, we're better than this one team. So prove it. And the problem is you didn't prove it the year before. So what makes you think you're going to do it the year that they change everything?
This keeps going back to this participation rule kind of thing because last time I checked, you figure out who wins a fight. 2 people enter the ring and the last man left standing is the winner. Win a freaking game and then you can get your spot in the playoff. Okay. So then what are we crying about here?
All right.
What are we
George,
crying about?
I got to leave this with you. Texas Tech's board chair and billionaire booster Cody Campbell has launched a public offense against Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormick over scheduling of a Friday night game, October 18th versus Houston. Cody Campbell argues that Friday nights are sacred to Texas high school football and college intrusion damages the local sports ecosystem. You are an athletic director. How do you feel about college football creeping in on Friday nights? I know Fox has a game that I've watched strictly for entertainment purposes only, but I seriously would like to know your thoughts on colleges playing Friday nights as opposed to leaving it alone for high schools. What do you think, sir?
Dude, the NFL has a few Saturdays they play on, right?
Yes, but they have to, by contract, wait until after the college football regular season.
So they've kind of worked that out. I mean, in a way, I think it is, but you already have. See, he's bringing it up now, but we already have Friday night football for some in some areas. They just think Texas is different. And I have no I'm not against it because it can happen because your group that's going to the college football game is not going to be the same group that's going to the high school football game. So I don't see where there's a problem because it happens in other states and other locations. Hell, Maryland will have a game on a Friday night every once in a while, and high school football is still played and it's not affected. You're not going to have your your college crowd going to a high school game. It's not going to affect one or the other. Now, in football in Texas, because they believe it's a religion, and just like it's like that down south everywhere. I mean, yeah, they're going to have rough, but it's not. I think it'll work itself out. I don't see, and one night a week is not going to kill a freaking season, and even depending on when it is, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I don't see an issue with it.
Okay. All right. So before we sign off today, I want to share a heavy loss to the Odd Coaches Podcast family and the wider coaching community. This week, we said goodbye to Coach Alfred Johnson, head men's basketball coach and assistant athletic director at Vermont State Johnson. To the world, Alfred was a titan of the game, won 300 games in his career, and a champion from Philadelphia to Vermont with some stops in the South. But to us at the OCP, he was a frequent contributor, a voice of wisdom, and truly a very dear friend of mine. Alfred just didn't bring commentary to the show. He brought an insightful fire. He was a man who deeply loved his Philly roots. He loved the Sixers, made jokes about Joel Embiid, about every year this was going to be the year. Loved the Eagles, and I couldn't wait to talk to him about Jalen Hurts. He truly embodied the standard that we champion here, conversation over confrontation. Alfred and I bonded over our shared mission of empowering student athletes, and I shared yesterday that he was working on his doctorate, and one of the things he wanted to do was an extension of my own doctoral research on student-athlete motivation. So on behalf of the Odd Coaches Podcast, our deepest condolences go out to his wife, Wanda, his grandson, who he loved, and the generations of student-athletes who were fortunate to have him as a coach. On behalf of our cavalcade of stars, Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches Podcast, also seen on the Cascade Sports Network. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the Odd Coaches Podcast on the X platform at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Keith Adams and the CKA Save Project on social media at CKA Save Project. For more information about the CKA Save Project, visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.